accessibility for motion.
This is actually not my motion. Basically, it's so the PG Event Accessibility Fund is not a means tested fund, whereas is currently means tested against the Durham grant. That is why it's in money. It's currently overseen by the PGM Pres, and then the PGM Treasurer and the JCR Treasurer gets to have a bit of a say in it, but it's mainly the PGM Pres. Basically, until the things, it should go to the JCR Treasurer because they get to do the equivalent for the JCR. And they actually have financial oversight of what's going on. Whereas the PGM president is not running the PGM Pres to be the treasurer and hand out money. So basically this motion is just to move that responsibility to the treasurer, but the PGM Pres still gets to say in who gets it. Yeah.
Any questions to the motion? Any amendments? Any oppositions? Great, thanks. Can we all pass on the general? Aye. Okay, guys, now it's time for half an hour break. You guys also get some heat right now.
We're on a break.
Hello.
I'll try. I'll try the drawing. Oh, yeah.
to be fair. That's such a Bro, I have to call her. Yeah, so Christy's always wanted to bring my babies, and I was like, I hope you're having fun. And then I knew I called her. I mean, listen, sorry. I'm not on that basis with Christy, but yeah. God knows. Every time, I think that this is like, sorry, it's complicated. Yeah. Very micro, very like. I just like there you go. We agree. Why are we why? You don't have to. What a right into the BB No, yeah. Hey guys. Oh, there's the one on.
You should work that out. Kate, do you want to get size pizza? Guys, can everyone please step back 1 minute while I sort these all out? How are you feeling? Right, everybody, what we've got is the one on this board next, that was free. Yeah, you did this board. My friend's fishing. Well, I just found it.
2 minutes.
Just look in the back as far away. I mean, I'm not even ready to
Oh my God.
so like,
Hello.
oh wait, let me double check.
Liam. You know the table. The table.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me go get that.
Why are you eating on the live?
Oh, hang on, I'm having some pizza. I would never order. Everyone's getting a slice of pizza. Still eating. Yeah, of course. No, guys, don't do that. No. Oh. No, I'm sorry. Oh, sorry. Oh, on the live stream.
How many streams are
I
there?
don't know. 2 people on it. Tell us, reveal yourself. It's definitely valid. It might be Dan Bass, guys. Dan Bass is known to watch these things.
We've got 3 viewers.
It's a mukbang, okay? Like, come on.
It's a mukbang.
Mukbang. It's a group mukbang where we all get 2 slices of each.
Maybe more.
I don't like that, I'm just here.
Oh.
Whoa, I didn't kill it on camera.
Oh. We're definitely going to keep that. Oh, sorry.
That's forever.
I'll take this for example. And there's a picture of me like, I liked it. Anymore. I don't like it anymore. No, we're just not like that. No, we're coming out game plans to get as much. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm intrigued. Like, as well.
Is it gonna be?
I don't like this. Like, honestly, no one's really watching me.
Yeah. The one person.
literally to go to this one.
The whole thing
Everyone, we're about to restart the meeting, so. Guys! So, I'll let everyone settle down quickly. We are about to start the elections. So we have 3 method ones up tonight. We're going to do them in this order: President, Vice Pres, and then Senior Welfare. So on that note, can I please invite Lauren and Caleb. It's fine, you're going second.
Oh, I'm going second. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I did say stand up. You're gonna have to, you and Fran are gonna have to be escorted out by one of my one. Well, as in your proposer speaks first before you.
So do I sit back down?
You can sit. Well, you can stand up. You can sit back down. I just needed you out of the way. Yeah. So, where is Alex? And David, can you escort both Fran and Caleb out into the EJCR?
Good try.
It's like you have Prez is historically good. So we're running that.
Can we close that door?
Hi guys, I'm Dia. I usually have pronouns and I'm really proud to be proposing Lauren Evans for the role of JCR president. What stands out most about her isn't what she's done isn't just what she's done for us, the list is long, but how she has done it. Everything she's taken on has been driven by genuine care for students and a belief that the college should work for everyone. Over her time here, herself in college life, from founding and leading Rana magazine to serving on the social committee, prepping 2 years, working in student union, and now acting as both society librarian and student trustee. Her roles aren't just titles, however. They show her consistent leadership, teamwork, and ability to turn ideas into reality. In the library alone, she's managed volunteers, closely worked with the college and university, overseen long-term planning budgeting, and successfully navigated a major refurbishment project. That kind of experience matters, especially as our college faces its major period of change. What I really admire, though, is her understanding that being president isn't about control. It's about representation, accessibility, and trust. Her vision of accessibility really branches to every single facet of student life, whether that's through proactive accessibility measures, improved welfare training, clearer financial transparency, or better communication across sports societies and the wider JCR. She's shown that she thinks carefully about who gets left out and how to mitigate this. She also understands the balance needed to be a good president. She has fully embraced university life and understands that to be a good president, you will support students without burning them out or working them to the bone. Finally, I just think she's really approachable. I genuinely believe that Lauren has the experience, empathy, and leadership skills to be an outstanding JCR president, someone who will advocate for students, strengthen our independence, and lead with transparency and integrity. Please join me in supporting Lauren Evans for JCR president.
So on that note, we will have a speech, which will be 10 minutes long. So
Hello. For those of you who don't already know me, my name is Lauren Evans and I use She/Her programs. I'm a third-year English student and I would absolutely love to be your next president of the society. Before we begin, if there's one thing you really need to know about me, it's that I can talk. We've had the misfortune of bumping into me at the bar or in the library where I talk just as much, just a little bit more quiet. You know that I can talk your ear off. And today I'm excited to do exactly that. Not for myself this time, but to advocate to be your JCR student voice and first-year president. As I'm sure you've already heard, during my degree, I've thrown myself into absolutely everything that CUS has to offer. Even things that first-year me would have been slightly horrified by, such as playing our vice principal in this year's panto. From formals and balls to fashion show, creating magazines and running a library, you'd be hard-pressed to find something I haven't given a go at least once, except the 8 a.m. Durham Opera. It is these experiences that have truly made my time here, as I'm sure is true of many of you, and it's similarly those experiences that makes CUS unique. However, it was my time in the JCR that has truly shaped my development as a person throughout my time at university. Whether that was volunteering in the library, frapping, or social committee, it was these experiences that taught me about the selflessness and dedication of my college colleagues. I've had the pleasure of working alongside some truly fabulous people here, whether that was within a committee or leading my own this year. And it is this dedication to improving student body life and experience that I would love to bring to the role. What initially cemented me into the JCR was my experience frapping, which, despite coinciding with a really difficult time in my life, provided me with some amazing friends that surpassed. The people that I met as both freshers and fraps made all of those club nights worth it, but also taught me exactly why we have a JCR in the first place. Meeting year upon year of dedicated volunteers that give up their time to provide a top-tier student experience doesn't simply describe our fraps, but our JCR itself. And it's these people that I believe it's the President's role to support, empower, and advocate for. This supplements one of my key policies, to work alongside Prescom and College to ensure that our fraps and JCR officers are treated with the respect that they deserve. Now, it goes without saying that this experience led me into further JCR roles, from JCR journalist, where I created Rana, to society librarian and student trustee. However, I'm sure you've heard enough about my experience, and as promised, I'd like to talk to you about what I can do for you. Having been in Cuts JCR dually, as someone uninvolved in my first year, then incredibly involved in my later years, I truly believe in balance and diversity when listening to the student body. The actions, advocacy, and voice of the President should embody both the JCR, but also every other student here at Cuts. So we have 4 students by students, and it is this balance that I would wish to strike within the role. I believe balance is also key in the consideration of volunteering, societies, and academics. As someone who has experienced a number of life-changing bereavements alongside the course of my degree, I cannot speak enough to the importance of looking after yourself alongside your degree and your commitments. As President, this balance will be integral to my approach, informing a number of my policies, but also my priorities for the Executive Committee if elected. Now, how will I achieve this? One of the most important facilitators of work-life balance is welfare within Cuts, delivered excellently by our welfare team and college. Peer-to-peer support is an invaluable tool in university life, and I believe that this should be extended to welfare roles within sports and societies. I would endeavour to provide all welfare roles within sports and societies welfare training. This ensures that the role is an attainable way to reach support if needed, while supporting those who would rather chat with a teammate than a welfare team. As President, I would continue the support with the ongoing check-in system in place for the exec, allowing high commitment roles the opportunity to take a breather, seek support, and keep me updated with plans and ideas. I think due respect and support for our welfare officer team cannot go remiss, as I would aim to walk alongside them and the head frap in the creation of a specific welfare frap role. With acute welfare issues being most prevalent and relentless during Freshers' Week, I would aim for a frap in every team to be trained to handle these situations on standby. This would support our welfare team in balancing the back-to-back club nights should they need a night off, while ensuring our freshers receive the trained support they need. Working in welfare can also accrue an additional stress alongside other JCR roles. And I would like to work alongside the senior welfare officer to curate an additional booking system, not to replace drop-ins, but to support officers with an option if they cannot make them, and to provide support to those who do not like to drop in. Moving on from welfare, I believe that Cuts should be as accessible both socially and physically as possible, something that I've worked hard to support within the library this year. Working alongside a wider Durham University project, I have been endeavouring to provide a sensory map for Cuts Library following Easter's refurbishment, a resource that I would like to provide for the entirety of the college side as President. This would be extended to working with our Sports and Societies Officer and Disabled Students Rep to provide accessible sessions in which alternative exercises, accessible sites and considerations are provided. I would love the opportunity to work alongside our Communities Committee to further the excellent work carried out to increase inclusivity and accessibility during Freshers' Week, with the intent of carrying this to further bigger events. Since accessibility is not merely for physical but social, I would like to work alongside the bar and our reps to ensure accessibility issues are flagged for events on both social platforms and a solution provided where it's possible. With my experience as student trustee this year, I've realised just how important transparency within the role of President is, and by means of ensuring students know exactly what the President and JCR does, and more importantly, what they can do for them. Nowhere is this more important than for our sports and societies, where the levy allows JCR to subsidise subs and utilise reserves. In an endeavour to make this supportive relationship clearer, it is my plan to work alongside the Treasurer, Sports and Socks Officer, to ensure that the Sports and Socks talk comes immediately at the beginning of the term. This would educate people on exactly how their club finance works and ensuring that this information is publicised readily on social media to maintain financial responsibility. It would be my plan, if elected, to advertise specific sports and society one-to-one sessions with me, to allow captains and presidents the opportunity to ask questions and disclose plans. This, alongside clear advertisement of the JCR and the president's role on social media, would allow for utmost transparency, where it's most important. In terms of future planning, I would enforce a compulsory handover document for sports and socks, especially for those with larger reserves, to ensure financial cohesion and understanding, and to maintain a standardised record of financial spending. Should you vote for me, I would ensure this transparency extended to the general student body, using the Press Instagram and Society socials to provide an easily accessible infographic regarding role of president. This means even simpler and more frequent advertising on social media to ensure that students know exactly what they can ask of the president and how it can be achieved. In a similar manner, I would like to work alongside the Treasurer to advertise the additional costs of coming to university, the things that you cough up at the door, such as your levy, your wristband, related to the subs. Whilst being chronically online about cuts before coming to university, I hadn't expected to pay around £200 on the door. And I would love to work with our Treasurer to create social media series to ensure that this is explicit over the summer to allow for financial inclusivity. With this in mind, having sat on our wrapping carousel selling levies and wristbands this year, I found the pressure-free and informative approach to these sales to far surpass the bite-the-door mentality of my Freshers Week, and found that many people came back and purchased, having researched what they actually bought. This not only resulted in a record number of sales, but also forefronted student agency and transparency, something that I would campaign for if elected. Finally, as I'm conscious of time, I'd like to address the whole student body regarding events and student life. An aim I would bring to the role is to alleviate the pressure upon Freshers Week induced by the increased number of students. As someone who's rep for 2 years, I understand the formative effect Freshers Week has upon student experience, and the disappointment of not being able to attend due to capacity. I would like to work alongside college and the bar to increase capacity for Freshers Week, whether that's a different licensing arrangement to allow for a market or an outdoor bar, or an alternative location for larger events. This focus on student experience would be extended to the provisions in our new JCR space in House 8, in which I plan to work alongside freshers and JCR officers to cultivate a space that people would actually like to use. A plan that I've had a lot of experience delivering given the ongoing refurbishments of the library. Much of our student pride and uniqueness as a college lies in our independence, and that is something I would like to future-proof and protect, something that I've become shockingly educated through living with our Treasurer and working with our trustees. I believe our independence is of the utmost importance during a time of university budget cuts, and I promise to work collaboratively with the Independence Committee and our Board of Trustees to share ideas, experiences, and plans. I think that's all I've got time for, and I would absolutely love to give back to CUFS in the same way that CUFS has given to me. I'd really appreciate your vote. Thank you for listening.
So we now have time for some targeted questions, which are specifically about the contents of Lawrence Huston Manifesto. So if anyone would like to ask a question. All right.
Yeah, that was amazing. And I think the welfare crap idea is really, really good. I'm just curious about how you would choose them, because as you know, the issues for prep in the summer, training for welfare officers can't happen. Sorry, it's like before, basically. So it's just like, I'm wondering how you would train them for that.
Yeah, of course. So I think generally when I applied for frapping, second time around was slightly different because I was sort of shoehorned in due to the previous experience. But I think if the first time around you had the opportunity to apply to be team leader, and I think the same would sort of have to work for welfare frap. Obviously, welfare isn't for everyone. I know I certainly wasn't in the position to provide welfare to anyone in my first year of frapping, but there are plenty of people who would absolutely love to do so. And I think actually giving people the option to apply and then seeing once you've actually got people, if you don't have the numbers, asking again and sort of advertising what it means, the experience you can get from it, I think that would be a really good idea. I also think, because obviously we do so much training for frapping, I feel like I've attended like 12 billion sessions, like at least twice. But I do think that keeping that, like running a facilitated workshop to provide the same sort of level of experience would be a really good idea. I hope that answers the question. Thank you.
We'll go George next.
On a similar line, you said you wanted to get sports and socks training in welfare. However, we tried to do that a bit this year. How would you go about actually getting that involved and having execs buy-in to get better welfare or first aid training?
Yeah, of course. I think generally, I like having known a number of people in sports and socks. Sometimes the welfare role can be a bit of a joking role. Obviously, ideally, it would be an avenue for support for literally anyone. And I know plenty of people who do sports aren't going to want to come to college, and we're not going to come to the welfare team. I think very generally, when it comes to training people, having the welfare team in general providing facilitated workshops to allow them to provide the support would be a really good idea. But I also know that college could provide workshops, if working alongside the JCR. Obviously, with first aid training, I'm first aid trained. It's one day. It's a bit of a pain in the arse. I've done it a number of years. But I think organising things alongside our welfare team, our senior welfare officer, that would be a really good idea and an easier way to sort of make sure it's facilitated.
Yeah, Lee.
Talking about increasing the capacity of the bar, which obviously was a massive problem during this session. I don't know whether you could increase that capacity of the bar because it's done by ratio between square meter per person. So what other alternatives do you offer?
So instead of increasing the bar capacity, sorry, I've been a bit general there, I think, in describing it. In terms of increasing bar capacity, I don't mean the bar space itself. That's health and safety. However, I do think, say, for example, providing a marquee that we can work with college to get the licensing for would be a really good idea. I know that this year we tried for the TPA to be licensed to little success, but I think with more planning and all, because I'm assuming we're probably going to let in more students again next year, and it will be at the forefront of planning frapping and the freshers experience. I think in my first year, when we were frapping, we just didn't come across the same issues that we did this year. For some reason, capacity was crazy. I think it was Castle this year who tried to organise in another location, not necessarily in college, but obviously that's something I'd have to work on alongside college. JCR officers when I had prep, so I don't have a definite answer, but those are my ideas.
Due to the fact that we can only have up to 3 cards questions, and I think just because there isn't a massive number of everyone raising their hands, we will limit it there for time reasons as well. There will be an opportunity later to ask questions to both Lauren and Caleb, but for the moment, I think that's our only question. So can everyone please give a round of applause? And then we'll get Caleb and Fran back in. We seem to be missing someone. Where's Caleb? Okay, well, your speech is first, anyway.
Yeah.
You know how. If you want Caleb to hear your speech, he probably should be. Should be saying that. Oh. Thank you for joining us. It's fine. Fran will now give their 3-minute speeches, Caleb to close up. So, Fran, pause everyone.
Hi, I'm Fran, if you don't know me already. I'm Caleb's proposal for the presidential election. Caleb and I have known each other since our first year, from the very first day we lived in House 13 together. And like many of us, I felt a huge range of emotions on my first day, going from anxiety to acute homelessness, to imposter syndrome, all of which I ended up relaying to this guy I just met living on the floor above me. But it was Caleb that made me feel that actually I did belong in this strange place that isn't set up for someone like me, that there is a possibility for community anywhere. I don't remember much of Freshers Week, and I'm not sure Caleb can add much more information on this subject, but the most memorable parts were the events and the workshops I attended with him. I think it's fair to say that I learned everything about the JCR and what the hell this organisation does, from the snippets of conversation about Cubs roles and events, in between conversations with Celtic pride and the first time we smoked cigarettes. Above all, my first impression of Caleb was that he's kind. Throughout our first year, Caleb threw himself headfirst into university life, including JCR, doing the best job he possibly could, and supporting people to join in the work alongside him. I was one of those people who never would have had the confidence to get involved had it not been for his assurance and the identification skills I didn't even know I had. Caleb can only ever be encouraging. He sees only the very best in people, an imperative quality for a president whose job it is to inspire and support the volunteers from JCR and those beyond. In the same vein, Caleb has always acted through a mindset of collectivism, never dedicating too much or too little time to one thing or another. The sheer number of commitments Caleb has made to Durham students over the past 3 years is admirable, maybe slightly crazy, from assistant rep to welfare campaigns, vice president, Durham theatre scenes, the student union, and his work in EDI. Somehow, amidst all of this, Caleb has managed to be a great friend and complete at least 2.5 years of Durham degree. Good luck with the rest. I've made Caleb's experience in and outside of Durham University inspiration something already, and I have no doubt that he has more to give. Caleb would be a president whose encouraging nature, whose kindness, appreciation, and confidence would inspire health spirits in every one of our students, both returning and prospective. I'm proposing him the assurance and confidence that he would commit himself fully to the role of president in a way which makes every health student feel safe and encouraged to bleed green in everything they do, now and in the future.
Thank you, Fran. Caleb now has. Caleb.
Yes.
You now have 10 minutes to give your speech.
Oh, fantastic.
Fran has a microphone if you like.
Is the mic? Oh, whoa. That's cool. All right, guys, log in. This is going to be an exciting 10 minutes. I wrote this speech. I wrote half of this speech. There I. The other half of this speech is going to be completely off the top. So, friends, Durhamites, Buxton, lend me your ears. All right, folks. For those of you I haven't had the pleasure to get to know, my name is Caleb, and I would love to be the next president of CUTS. Failing that, I'd love your attention for the next 10 minutes, hopefully, that we can get that. Well, I try to explain to you why I think I'd be good for the job. Thank you in advance for your time and patience. This may get fairly self-indulgent and silly, hard to say, trivial at points, but I wrote quite a lot of things down, and I fear I'll do my best to explain what I meant. Let me set the scene. The JCR has just about submerged from a 5-year fiscal black hole, and God, are we better for it. The stability in our finances has placed us in a brilliant situation, a situation where we can invest in the lives and activities of students and build a great legacy for the next 5, 10 years of life at CUTS. Thanks to Jack Edwards, CUTS has been a very popular college in the Durham community, but I prefer it to be the most popular college. Yeah. because I know how much effort and work the volunteers and friends of volunteers have put into this community. In a time of a real regime change of college staff, we need to ensure that we maintain our traditions. Now, I am Spartacus, noting in the famously shut down House 13 Halloween party. I found an incredible amount of joy in every aspect of the JCR, and there's no greater joy than sharing it and sharing in the tradition of it all. When I arrived in Durham, I had no idea what I was signing up for. I had no interest in the JCR. I didn't know anything. I thought it didn't rain in the Northeast. I was proven wrong quite quickly. On day one, I discovered a real love and joy for what the JCR has to offer. The idea of everyone pitching in, working for each other and building each other up was beautiful, as wet as it sounds. On day one, I met the president of the society and let him know that I wanted to help in any way that I can. On day one, I met the president of the society and I said that I wanted his job. I've done a bit over the years. I had a long and gorgeous relationship with welfare campaigns, disability activism and communities committee. The chair of communities committee last year, acting chair, as my manifesto clearly states. That's a little joke for that couple. Then I got to be vice president of the society and I got to be part of a brilliant exec committee, working across the JCR and being part of there's two committees. The committee give me an insight into all aspects of the JCR, a number of volunteers who give up their time and provide unbelievable passion to create communities, running events, and being so goddamn good at doing whatever needs done. And so I'd like to thank you all for that. Well done. But on to what I want to do, and this is where we're going to get way looser in terms of, that was nice, wasn't it, when I wrote that out? Okay, the JCR is for students, by students, and it needs to be a priority that we are active in providing for all of our beautiful students. So what can we do? I would love to engage with students on the ground by moving focus groups, which students would get a little bit back for, to accurately understand what students feel in regards to the value of what they receive from the levy, what the JCR can be doing better, especially for those who can't be with us here tonight. God rest their souls. And though I love students, I fear it would be useful to get an outside perspective. As a medium-sized charity, I think there's room for us to be able to see from professional insight. It's useful to have a outside perspective, as my dissertation supervisor knows so well. And now we're going to really speed run the rest of these, because guys, there's a lot. I want to ensure that the TPA is licensed so that it can be used for more events. I think it's necessary for us to be able to do more with Freshers Week, for us to be able to hold and have better capacity, especially as we see a rise in our student numbers. I want to run a lot of smaller events. I think we can do one each term. Oktoberfest, St. Patrick's Day, end of exams. We love events. We love events. I would like to invest in a JCR-owned marquee to increase event capacity. I know you're all excited. I can see it on your faces. I'd like to take pub quizzing to the next level. I wrote speed quizzing comes to Cubs Bar. I don't know if you guys have ever been to Three Bridges. Any Bridges fans here? Oh yeah, we got some Bridges fans in the house. But they got this wonderful digital. Sorry, that's not how microphones work. Wonderful digital pub quizzing system, which I think costs £50. Change our lives. Change our lives. I would encourage college to light up the Cutts Garden and smoking area and look into the possibility of outdoor heating. I fear I'm too cold when I have my little smoke in the dark. I would secure space in college for the showcasing of student art. I think this is one of the things that we're just desperately lacking. We have so many talented, creative people here, and unfortunately, so many blank walls. Look around you. Look behind you. What is that about? Let's use the space that we do have. Like the soundproof, the music room for those people out there in Fontaine. Fontaine. Give me a nod. I love Parsons, but I don't know Parsons as well. I'll get to it. I'd like to develop a strong local relationship with Durham-based brands to secure more sponsorship opportunities we can use for the wider student experience. that's important. What I mean by that is, I think our current financial model really works on a students paying for students basis. I think we can broaden this out. I think if we can get more investment from local businesses, from people in the community, we don't have to depend that other students have to pay their way. Ear break. That was taking time. Yeah, I think that the current system is great, but the best way for the JCR to succeed in the future is to find other revenue streams, and I think this could be a really unique and exciting one. I'm going to be available. I'll chat to people. I want to chat to everybody. I want to be able to meet with the people and make it as accessible as possible. I want them to feel like they can come to me with everything. I'd like to negotiate with the college over control of formals, especially with new community dining. Guess you plan them? Anybody re-plan them? God, damn crap. I would, that's a thing. Platform to cut students and promote wider university opportunities. You know, things like University Challenge, the Volunteers Award, the Belonging Fund, these are things that should be promoted to our students, that they should feel like they have access to, and that they feel like they understand. And I feel like this is a role that JCR can absolutely play. I'd like to create a separate celebration dedicated to half and full colors. I don't know if anybody received their half and full colors, but it's on that garden. Give you a certificate, they show your name. If you're not there, don't get your certificate. I think we could do a event in college where students actually get seen for their contribution. Because people be trying. Who's timing this? You are. What time are we on? What?
You have a minute now.
I have a minute and a half. Oh no! Sports Societies are back running the JCR. And how people engage in college life. The sense of camaraderie and belonging that being a part of a team fosters is integral to making us all feel like we fit in Durham. While you may not want me on your rugby team, I was a mean scrum half in a past life. I've recently got to enjoy the theatre scene in Durham. God damn it, it's sick. So I feel like we can meet with presidents and execs of sports and societies to create a relationship with those who provide some of the most value to our JCR, clarify their plans for the year, any investment opportunities into the society, and the research they may have. I'd like to create a centralized results for be able to celebrate CUT's success, be included in the weekly email. I'm going to stall the freshers there, the brief outline of how society funding works, and examples of what other JCRs have that CUT does not, utilizing the stall for other interesting country societies. I'd like to formalize and standardize the handling process and standard works to ensure that there is kept operational knowledge on file, as well as informed officers in entering their roles. And this also works for sports elections and society elections. I'd like to ensure the completion of every AGM and holding recruitment where we are. Recruitment drives where possible. Cuts existed. Okay. Let's slow down. Okay, guys, with 10 seconds left. I'm going to have a manifesto out. You should definitely give it a read. The JCR has been so good to me. I've loved my experience in this community, and I couldn't have asked for a more welcoming and highly environment. The resilience and power that each of you bring is outstanding, and it's just so fucking nice to be around people who care in a world that breeds apathy to be surrounded by people who want to try. I want to try. I want to do good. I want to be your next Council Perez. I want your vote. My name is Caleb, and I believe in you.
Questions? Angelina.
I love that. I have a question. Is there anything else you feel like of value that it's covered that you would like to highlight?
Angelina, that's so nice to be asked.
Unfortunately, I'm not going to allow that question. No, because it's just a question to extend this house. So it has to be on the contents of this house manifesto.
Okay, I actually do. I actually have on the content.
Yeah.
On the content of setting up a store for
Yes.
professors. I thought that was brilliant. Could you expand a bit further? Is that
As long as you don't speak too long.
I'll try not to, but I can't make any promises. Yeah, so I think one of the things that CUTS does really, really well is it opens the doors for people to do whatever they want. But there's this weird barrier of entry. I mean, like, I love JCR meetings. I'm here right now. But I think people just don't want to be involved. They don't want to come to these things. They don't understand how it works. And by getting in early, by being there at Freshers Week, by showing them what we do have, and then telling them that they can do something else, that we can have on that stall their sign-up form, and they can get the signatures for the society to exist. It can really get things off the ground and get freshers involved early, and allow them to be presidents and executive their own societies, and really fill those gaps that do exist. We do a lot, but there are gaps. Thank you, Angela.
Any other questions? Yeah?
You said about the JCR taking control of the form.
Yes.
To what extent control we talk about the financially a little bit more from someone like that?
Yeah, so I think it's one of those things that came up a lot last year, where we had poor formal turnout. And we really had to think about whether or not formals going forward were going to be a part of Life in Cats. And I think communal dining is important. I was catered in first year. That's why I don't know how to make any food. But I think that the JCR could do it financially. I think that we could take it in. I think we could run the events, especially if we're going to limit the numbers. I think they are an important part of the experience. I think it's one of the things that people love about Durham. It's what I love about Durham. Though I don't love how expensive they are. And I think if the JCR does take that over, it's something that they can control the prices over. Hopefully. Thank you. Yeah.
Third and final question.
You mentioned the new stall freshers. Is there anything else you would change about prepping for that happened in the first couple of weeks for freshers?
What a wonderful question. I think that Freshers Week is probably the most important time of the year. It's been my favorite time in Durham, is getting to prep. I love it. I think it's so much fun. But I think we really need to put a focus on, I'm getting looks like prepping's not that fun. Anybody got anything to say? No, I think we really need to put an emphasis on talking to people, making sure that students feel seen more than anything else, and that they feel heard. I've had wonderful relationships with people from years below, just because we've had a 5-minute conversation on the walk to an event or standing outside, and those things do make a difference. And I know that because they made a difference in my experience. I came here, I didn't know anything, as I said, about the Northeast Commons. And I really felt like I belonged because of people who had been here before and showed me kindness. So I don't think I'd change anything about frapping. I think I would just push everybody to as possible. Thank you, Karen.
On that note, can we get a round of applause first? So that we can have some untargeted questions between Laura and Caleb.
Give me a microphone. Give me if you've got anything to say.
We talk too much in meetings anyway.
How are we doing?
Thanks. How are you? Yeah.
Good.
So, as I said, now's the time for non-specific questions, so just general questions about presidency to either of them. We'll start with Lauren answering first, then Caleb, and then switch around after various test questions. Does anyone have any questions? Yeah. Lauren.
Sorry, I'm not talking about the questions. It's absolutely being president is a lot of responsibility. It can actually be quite emotionally straining role because you represent everyone and you take care of everyone else. What would you do to make sure that you're looking after yourself as well as taking on responsibilities?
I think so. During my degree, I lost my mum, which then for me, I then had to forefront for the first time ever, really forefront myself and realise what's important. And it's not always the degree, it's not always other people, it's usually yourself. And I think this year I've really had to find a balance between like looking after myself, also getting a degree at the end of this. And I think a lot of it for me, Google Calendar, that's my big thing. I use Google Calendar all the time because I'm sort of someone who I take on an awful lot of things and then have to balance them all. And it's something that over last year I've got somehow really good at because I'm doing so many different things at one time. I also think like setting boundaries, specifically with social media and like emails and stuff. I like to keep things in one place. Just like my personal organisation things, I guess. But yeah, so I like to keep things in one place, make sure that at the end of the day, it's not a 9-to-5 role. Presidency is sort of around the clock. You've got boards, you've got random things in the middle of the night. Like there's so many different things going on. And I think that making sure that you're taking time for yourself, and then say, for example, if you get answer emails at like 9 to 5, then you switch off. And I think that's the only way that you can sort of keep like a grip on who you are outside of being a president, if that makes sense. Should I pass over?
Yeah.
I think it's really important to have separate spheres, right? So we have this community and it's wonderful and it's beautiful, it's so great to be a part of it. But if you're president and your whole life exists within the presidency, that's whenever it's gonna drain you. And as someone said, I mean it's not a 9 to 5, but it kind of bleeds through the rest of your life. So I think keeping strong relationships outside of CUTS and outside of the JCR, making sure that I have people that I can talk to. I don't know. I think it's a very difficult role to establish a work-life balance, as I think every president in the past has felt. You've got to love what you do, and you've got to make sure that you're putting yourself first, because no one else is going to do that for you, especially as a sole employee of a charity. So that's all I got to say.
Other questions? We'll do Lily first.
I know people do joke about like stuff like asking when somebody is, that's not like that. But in all seriousness, how would you cope with like when certain questions are like directed to the wrong people? So like for example, like social chair is asked a lot of the time about like, can you refund my formal ticket, for example? And obviously forms are done by college, so like how would you propose like certain things being asked, especially between like college and like Keswick? Because I'm sure Theo's asked a lot of questions that should instead be directed to like Matthew Mills or Matthew.
Yeah, I think that's a real struggle. I briefly, when I was vice president, I say briefly because I gave up on it quite quickly, is the CUTS JCR messages. If anybody's been in that inbox, it's horrible. It's horrible. People are asking the worst things all the time, and they're not the right questions. I think it's just about trying to disseminate the information. I mean, the thing that you brought up, which is absolutely a problem about formals and people thinking that it's social comms responsibility, is again a misunderstanding on how the JCR works. And I think again, the only things we can do is we can talk to people, we can make sure, but we also, I know it's frustrating when we get asked questions that we're not the ones who have the answers to it, but it is somebody who is trying to engage and trying to figure something out. And I think I take the approach of grace. I'm going to be like, yeah, maybe this is not supposed to be in my inbox, but sending it on to the right person doesn't take that much time. And I'm happy to do that. And if they're getting really annoyed about it, then I'm also happy to put them in their place.
Yeah, I suppose just to sort of echo what Caleb said there, I think also using social media to advertise your first port of call is really important. I think during Freshers Week, often questions were being asked to head prep that could have been asked to team leader. In the library, I get asked about all sorts of random things that have no relation. Like one time someone messaged me about like House 8 being shut. I was like, I have no control over that, it's not my building, sorry. But I do think making sure that on social media that there's a hierarchy of who you can ask, and if that's not the right person, it's like a flow chart perhaps. Who you can go to next is a really good idea. And I think obviously again, like to echo, having a bit of grace, anyone getting involved in the JCR at all, that's a good thing. But yeah, being able to redirect them, maybe advertising that on social media, pinning it, would sort of alleviate the pressure on a lot of us, I think.
Yeah.
So being president takes a lot of thinking on you. You've got to, sometimes you've got to just throw it down and you've got to act. Good example is finding out you've got over 100 freshers on top of what you expected, and finding out about 5 days before they're going to arrive. How are you going to react quickly and make sure that you see the way to advance that?
I think so. Obviously, there's been an awful lot of situations. I think in every single JCR officer role, you're sort of thrown with random things. I've had an awful lot of conversations with the college this year. It's been an uphill battle with the library, and lots of the time I'm thrown obstacles that I had no idea even existed, like trying to remove the library door that was listed because the hinge was really old apparently, and then suddenly that like threw us back 6 months, which is crazy. I think being able to like rely upon the people that you have around you is really important. I have a great assistant librarian, but also like people on your committees. At the end of the day, the president isn't there to hold everything together and hold everyone, you know, do everyone's jobs for them. You have all these JCR officers for a reason, but also treating them with respect, letting them know what's happening as it's happening, and making sure that if they can offer any support, that you can also take it. So yeah, I think hopefully that answers.
Can you repeat the question?
Basically, when you president, you get a lot thrown at you. How would you go about kind of thinking on your feet and reacting quickly to something, acting, and then making sure you see the way?
I think that probably the most important part about thinking on your feet and reacting is taking the second to stop. There's too many times where people, I'm not going to name any names. Sorry. There's too many times where people just rush into action because they think that's what they have to do. And it's probably, almost certainly, there's a smarter way to do it. So taking that time to pause, reflect, think about where we are at, and then go from there is, I think, probably the most important step in the process. Last year, as vice president, especially around Freshers' Week and matriculation, there was some tough situations. Those in the room who don't know, I don't think I can say. Oh, I can say, fantastic. So we called children a bunch of cunts, and it was not good. We shouldn't have done it. It was bad, and it was bad actions. Now, we got called into quite a tough meeting about it. But I think in that time, it was really, really about, okay, well, we can't change what has happened. We gotta change how we do it in the future. So again, maybe it's not always about the action that you can take directly, but how do we change our methods and our behavior that we can be better in the future? Thank you.
You could give more context.
Oh, yeah? I fear that's what happens.
Any other questions so we can get off this topic? Please.
Sometimes you have to have difficult conversations with like either officers or just exec members who are struggling to like do their role and let it ruin everything else going on, and maybe they just like not enjoy it and don't really want to have it. They still have a role to fulfill. And how would you approach that conversation, and what steps would you take before having that conversation?
I think that's a brilliant question. I think it's probably one of the most important parts of being president is making sure that all the volunteers feel like they can fulfill the role to the best of their ability. Approaching that conversation, I mean, this is so circumstantial. You know, there's people who don't fulfill their role because they don't want their role in the first place. But I think that you don't get anywhere by imagining that that person's not trying. I think we all try. I would like to we all try. And if there's anything you could do to alleviate that load, doesn't mean taking on the responsibility yourself, but being able to delegate is an incredible task. Just think treating them like people. Yeah? We've all got things going on. We've all got whole lives. And I think we deserve to be able to that would be great. The JCR is fantastic, but it is not the be all and end all. You gotta look after yourself first. And I think the world of present demands that you look after every student.
Sorry, what was the question again?
Sometimes I have difficult conversations with like a member of the exec officers and struggling to let people their role for whatever reason. How would you approach the conversations after what's set to be
I think the biggest thing to remember is that we're all volunteers. I've certainly had times in my degree and just in general personal life where I'm not necessarily able to fulfill the role in the way that I wanted to. Now this year we've had a check-in system where I can let people know, and like therefore they can support me before it becomes a problem that actually affects my role. I think having the ability to have this open and clear communication with the president is incredibly important. People should feel like they're able to come to you with their problems before they're actually becoming a problem that you end up having to solve yourself. And I think as long as you've got that, things sort of fall in line after that. I suppose if you still have a problem, I think knowing exactly what the role is and what they're supposed to be doing versus how much of it you can sort of support them with is really important, and sitting down and treating them with the respect that they deserve. Because I think at the end of the day, as Caleb said, we've all got things going on. It's not always possible to do everything that you wanted in your manifesto. It's not always possible to do all the things that you wanted that week, for example. And I think having the grace for people and being able to sit down with them and then being able to talk to you is the most important part of that.
Thank you. Any more questions? Yeah.
So I'm going to give us a bit of a wise on this. So as you may know, the university is increasing the competition prices by approximately 8% next year. The students at this university are unfortunately being faced with cost prices more than ever. I was wondering if there's any ideas that we have or any kinds of forms that would use to support these students.
Yeah, of course. So I think, I've certainly felt the pinch. I've applied for a master's and I can certainly not live in college next year due to the prices of accommodation. It's just not feasible. And that'll be a situation that freshers will have to face when they've decided to come here, and that's just simply, not okay. I think generally having information about finances, particularly working alongside the Treasurer about participation fund, how the university can support you with grants and bursaries, advertising that and making sure that that's very accessible, perhaps pinned, would be incredibly important in sort of conveying that information in the first place. I also think just generally standing up in a wider university sphere and using the voice that the president has to stand up against that goes an awful long way in showing students that you are standing for them. And that's something that I would endeavour to do. But yeah, I think hopefully that's it.
Yeah, I think there is a lot of power in what the president has to say and what the president can do. But I think that power is kind of lost recently. We've had a change from getting press conference and people getting to meet with a pro-vice chancellors, getting to meet with the dean of colleges, which is inevitable with no power. Yeah, no power. So I think it's not the time for the president to stand up and speak for everybody. I think it's time that everybody stands up and speaks for themselves. I think it's time for direct action. I think we've tried. We've tried to have nice conversations. I think it's time for actual protest. I think the JCR can stand for something, especially if it is for students. And when we're looking at rising costs, they're only going to keep rising because we're only going to keep paying. So I think sit-ins, direct action, going to those people, speaking to them, getting as many people there as possible is our only right to be able to ensure that this university does not become even more classes than it already is. So.
As we don't seem to have that many other questions, that we have reached the default maximum of 5, I do think it's fine to end them here, unless there are a bunch of people who have to go first. As it seems not, I think it is time to give a round of applause to both our candidates. When I say 10 minutes, I mean 10 minutes back.
I can't. It like threw me back to first. Real. Ooh.
I think Freddie's on. Hi, Freddie.
Let me see who's on there. It's Freddie. I want to know who's just saying safe comments on live. I think.
I didn't have any around. I am sorry, I can't
Everybody, it is last tour to set the bar. If you want a bed, you need to go right now.
Antina.
Because it's also technically being elected. Like now, I'm going to end off this meeting by asking everyone to close their eyes.
I love the
Nice meetings. Right their way. I'm lovely. It's lovely. You gotta do something. I'm not gonna wait your eye on
He was successful, yeah. He was actually like, technically they can develop more, but I don't know how long. Yeah. It's crazy. You have to book it a reservation and you get there at like 11 and you go on reservation and pick it up. And even if you have a reservation at the first time, you can't get anyone on the
But like, what's the point of making it more expensive than fixing the grant? Like, it doesn't. At the end of the day, that's not solving the problem. That's making it still more expensive for most students. And even the students on the grant, what will happen is they'll make it more expensive again. The grant will stay the same, and that's how you get it. That's how you finally get it.
Silly cow jobs. Oh.
Wait, you giving up the reference? I've seen the video. Like you get Alex to do his job again. I'm gonna make you put the
Can we hurry up? I don't want everyone to be here till like 11. We have 2 more elections. Well, 3. I am going to do it for speed.
Well, I'm going to speed run as well. I'm planning on taking forever on this one.
Well, the thing is, I can't. I did that.
People around me in this one, like, alright.
Terrible. Right, I'm just going to go around again.
If they're not far, they missed it. Bear in mind, he did 5.
There's one thing in there. The rest of it was selection.
One is building, one here,
Oh, this history.
But you don't have to do it.
This is from running to the bar.
It's that I can do the pass down while doing it. But I don't like it.
I can do
Well, I
something.
could make Luca do it, but there are so many. Or like, I'll give Luca a stack to go in the JCR.
After this meeting, like all that.
And I can sort the rest.
I don't know if I'm gonna. Well, no. I mean, I would say I'd head back by Parsons, but I wouldn't.
I need to do tactics.
I need to go close to Parsons. No, I am. Closest I get is like Elder Crescent. Right, I'm gonna go run again. The thing is, with everyone at the bar, I can only wait till I get back to the bar so I can ask if they got.
If it gets to 50, you can start running.
Shit. Yeah, I mean, sure, but also like, do you need one?
Yeah, I do.
You need 1, 3, 1. Oh my God, Charlie's watching this. Oh.
Charlie! Charlie!
She might not still be watching. I don't know. Ferdy's there. I think
Yeah, I
they're
know.
both me.
He thinks, well, there was 2. Ferdy!
I love Ferdy.
We're quite similar.
Yeah. It's because we're twins in Belfast, remember?
Yo!
Of course. Of course. Right.
It's amazing that your thing is almost the same number as touchdowns, when it's all the rest of the day.